All right, this is week 19, Portico, and this week we are adding the state of Oklahoma. So go ahead and color that state in on your map. Oklahoma is known as the Panhandle State.
And I've been there before.
And so that's what a panhandle is. Yes?
It's a state that looks like a pan.
Yes.
Handle.
Yes, and so we've got our handle here. There are a few other states that are called panhandle states. Also, Florida is a panhandle state, and both West Virginia and Maryland are called panhandle states. They kind of look like one. Okay? But Oklahoma is most notably known as the panhandle state. Okay, so before we start drawing, let's get our pencil out and we're gonna do some pencil thumbs to kind of do some observation and measurements. Okay, so it's nested right underneath Kansas, and so we're gonna start in at the southwest border of Kansas. And we're gonna head west just a little bit so that we can make that long panhandle. Now take a look, lay your pencil on the western border of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. Look there, it's not quite that far, okay? So when you're drawing that, and you've already established these western borders, know that this panhandle is gonna stick out, but not quite as far as those western borders, okay? Then we're gonna go down just a little bit. Now take a look here. How far do we go? Well, so you can see because our country is on the globe and it's rounded, you can see that now this straight line is really no longer straight because it's curving around the globe, right? But this is kind of a continuation. So the bottom of Kansas is a continuation of Virginia and Kentucky. And this is a little bit below that. Do you see that? So they're not quite straight lines anymore. Do you see that? Why is that? Because the earth is not flat, right? Right. So it's
flat, if you went all the way to Alaska, you'd just drop.
okay. So we're just going to go down just a little bit, and then we're going to head back east. Now, looking at our maps, this is already kind of divided into thirds. Do you see that? Oklahoma. Here it is divided in thirds. It goes in about a third of this length. Do you see that? So if you were to divide the northern border of Oklahoma into thirds, it goes, that's the length of the bottom of the panhandle. Does that make sense? Blank. Yes? No? Yeah, okay, great. All right, and we're gonna go south. This is, I measured to be about the width of Vermont and New Hampshire. So you're gonna go south about that width. And that's kind of important because then it's gonna take a final curve down to that indention in Arkansas. Making sure that you're meeting in Arkansas and not all the way in Louisiana. Okay, so these states are really very easy in that they're very straight lines, but you have to be careful where they're ending. Making sure that the southern border of North Dakota is right in the middle of Minnesota. Making sure that the southern border of South Dakota is just a little ways into Iowa. The southern border of Nebraska is just a little ways into Nebraska. Kansas, what did I just say? Southern border is a little ways into Missouri. And Kansas still in Missouri. Again, where these end are a little tricky. So keep practicing that. Okay? All right. So you should have your maps drawn to that point. And to start drawing Oklahoma, we're going to start right in the southwest corner of Kansas, continuing that straight lined west and just a little bit, making sure that it doesn't go as far as that western border of those states stacked above. Going down just a little bit, just enough to form a panhandle, and it's going to go back in. I said it's about, if you divided the state into 3 equal sections, that the panhandle makes up 1/3. Okay, now we're going to go south. Again, I said that is the width of that Vermont, New Hampshire width. Go south that far in a nice 90-degree angle. And then you're going to curve down into this notch in Arkansas. All right, and Oklahoma's abbreviation is OK.
It's okay.
All right, keep practicing.